On today's episode of the Broadway Shuffle, a Texas Tech sports podcast, we break down portal expectations for Texas Tech basketball, and head coach Joey McGuire solidifies his future as the Red Raiders head coach. As always, I am Brendan Baxter, pleased to be joined by Conrad Mills, Clayton Anderson, and Zyler Buchanan. We want to thank Wonder Tree and Hub City Body Shop for sponsoring this episode. So, gentlemen, portal season for basketball is right upon us, and there are some rumors circulating, not only outside of our head coach potentially being rumored on interesting jobs, but players leaving, what players we might be targeting for Texas Tech basketball. A lot of questions to be answered this offseason leading into the fall of 2026. So, Zyler, Leon Horner announced on Wednesday that he would be entering the portal. Your thoughts on guys that are moving on and guys that we could be expecting to be in a Red Raider uniform next season?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I know that's really a bad lead-in, but Leon announces that he's entering the portal. And if you're on Red Raider Sports or you're on the Trilly Discord, you note that, Leon's a close friend of Christian Anderson. And I know that's not the end-all, be-all, but kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, kind of telling you that Christian's not going to be here next year. I know that there were people holding out hope for that, and things can change. My expectation, though, is that that's the last time you've seen Christian Anderson in a Tech jersey. Again, the rumor is, and the real question is whether it's the last time you've seen him in an NCAA competition. We're hoping that he goes pro, but I think there's rumors of swirling that Christian Anderson may be headed to the portal, and I get it. If you're a guy that's projected 15 to 20 in the NBA draft, that's not the same kind of money as being like a top 10 pick. I get the insurance. Why expose yourself to some risk that you may not have to? That's kind of just a good business decision. But yeah, Leon Horner will be in the portal. I think you'll find out on Christian Anderson here pretty soon. And then some of the other guys, Clayton, who are you expecting else off of the roster? Who do you think is maybe primed to enter the portal in your estimation?
Yeah, I think Lawan Watts for sure. There's definitely been rumors of him. I think Trilly said that he was probably headed back west. Nolan Groves, apparently there's a bidding war for his services going on between Minnesota and Wisconsin, which I feel like I kind of always expected him when he came to Tech to make his way back to Minnesota at some point. That just felt like the natural career progression for him. There's also some rumors around Jalen Petty. I feel like that him and Christian would be the two that like Grant probably doesn't want to see happen, but I definitely see a world where another school offers him like a massive bag of cash for what he did this year. And I think as much as I like him, he is a tough player to build around. Like, I don't know if you want him without Toppin being a certainty. Like, do you want him being your locked in starting point guard next year? Because I think that pigeonholes you into like the kind of like running mate you need in the backcourt and kind of like the rest of the team. Just because I don't know that he has the passing ability that Hawkins or Christian has had. He's shorter. He has defensive limitations. I just don't know if you're willing to pay what he probably could get on the open market.
Yeah, because you feel like he's probably a $1.5 to $2 million player, which you bring up a great point. And it's everybody loves positionless basketball, and Jalen Petty is kind of positionless, but in like a bad way. Like, I can't really play you as the 1, the 2, or the 3. You're kind of just out there hooping. And he was great for you this year. Like, I was incredibly impressed with Petty, and he's a guy I'd love to have on your team. He's just a really weird building piece. He's kind of like a decorative piece to a house. He's not necessarily a foundational piece in my mind. You want to have it. I really want to have the really nice TV in the house. It makes the house sick. That doesn't necessarily, it's not the roof. It's not the foundation.
Well, okay, but here's where I'm struggling with this, guys, is if you're talking about losing Petty, Anderson, Watts, Toppin being injured, that is your scoring. And then Atwell obviously graduating is gone. You're telling me right now, if I'm understanding this correctly, that you got to replace your whole entire roster? You're not getting any of your production back next season? That's the reality of Texas Tech basketball?
That's obviously things can change, and I'm not.
That's what I'm hearing, and I don't like hearing that, quite frankly. I think this is not great news if that's the case. And regardless of Petty's position, there's got to be some continuity. I mean, this isn't, John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, Kentucky, where you can just bring in 5 new guys and go make a Final Four. I think you got to have some sort of returning production back. I mean, Conrad, hearing that news, I know the season ended a couple weeks ago, but I'm already not feeling very hopeful for 2026.
Yeah, man, I'm just thinking about August, whatever it is, 30th, and football season. To be completely honest with you guys, I mean, basketball's in the back of my mind. I mean, not that I don't care, but if you are, correct in saying that, and that we're losing pretty much literally everyone, it does make you think like, what in the world is going to happen, and why would you, what does that mean for the future of this program? Because you do want, Brendan, I think you're right. You do want some continuity at all, and as you guys mentioned, Christian Anderson, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I guess if it's. I don't know I'm not as familiar with the basketball NIL world as I am the football NIL world. And so it's just looking at that, I'm like, I feel like Texas Tech would be able to compensate whatever we needed to for him. It's just, are we willing to?
That's where I was going to go here, Z, because you mentioned a bidding war for Christian Anderson, talking about potentially, well, if he's going to be a 15 to 20 range. We saw that with Darion. He wasn't sure. Toppin wasn't sure. Are you just going to get outbid? Is that what this is? It's coming down to a money thing? Or is this Christian saying, I'm not happy here if this expectation becomes a reality and it's time for me to move on?
I don't want to pretend to speak on what and why Christian would maybe move on. I think every player can have their own reasons, whether I think those are legit or not. That if they're legit to that player and that family, then they're going to move on those things. And so there's rumors about that. I just have not heard anything that I feel super confident saying, yes, this is why he's potentially moving on. I have a hard time believing it's a money thing. Christian said in those pressers that I will never play for another college coach except Grant. I think people can say stuff and maybe not actually mean it. That doesn't hold him to anything. That's not contractually binding or anything like that. I don't know. And Brendan, I think the point that you brought up about continuity, you look at these teams that are in the Final Four this year, and that's what Tech's aspirations are. Maybe not the expectations or the goals, but you want to be there. And I look at a team like, UConn, and they bring back Caravan, and they bring back Solo Ball, and they bring back a lot of guys that have been there on these teams and done these things with Dan Hurley and know how it works. I look at the guys on Illinois, and not all of those guys came back, but you have Kylan Boswell. You have dudes that are consistent contributors. Michigan had plenty of players that returned from that prior team. And then Arizona is just like full of continuity. It's hard for me to envision a bunch of mercenaries making a Final Four run.
And I think that's where I'm having the problem with this is if you brought in five-star freshmen, that's a different story. Like if you're bringing a bunch of new guys, they're meshing as a team. If you're bringing in people just saying the transfer portal idea and expecting 5 to 7 new guys, like completely overhauling your entire production from your season, that to me is a much more difficult task. Like when you're having to go pick guys from UNC Greensboro or you name school here, if you've got 5-star talent coming in, you're just expecting them to be in the NBA the next year. Like those guys can just hoop. I think piecing together a team of a bunch of seniors and not having any sort of leadership staying on that roster just makes it more difficult, in my opinion, Clay. So you're saying Watts, Petty,
Anderson.
Anderson. So okay, if that's the case, you've got Mosley and Luke potentially staying.
Maybe Mariel. Maybe Mariel. But it's like, what did Mariel give you? 40 minutes this year?
Yeah. Who? I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it's like, I'd love to have Mosley back. He'd probably be outside of like players that can contribute next year. He's probably in my top 3. Is Luke in my top 5? Is Mariel in my top 10? And that's no offense to those guys. Like, I'd rather have him than not. The one that's kind of frustrating me is Horner. Like, I'm not a basketball savant. I've never claimed to be. When I watch him play, I feel like he gives you positive contributory minutes that some of the other guys didn't. Like he made good plays on offense and defense, played with effort, seemed to do the things that Grant wants, but just never really found a role. I feel like he's going to go to a place like a really good mid-major, like High Point or McNeese, or maybe he goes to St. Louis, Tulsa, something like that. And he's going to average like 15 and 8. And I think we're going to wish we had him. And I trust Grant on this. And so I'm not criticizing that decision. I just think he's going to be a really good player at a lower level when he gets a lot more minutes. And I wish he was around for another year. I thought I saw a lot of growth from him and it was worth keeping around, but maybe his price was too high.
Yeah. I feel like not all of these are like Grant's decisions. Like these are obviously the players trying to do what's best for them. I totally agree about the continuity, although I don't know if like next year we could have gotten there I'm not gonna like put restraints on this roster, but I'm saying I don't know that the roster was in a great place to just bring everyone back and expect a huge leap. Like, there's a lot of players on this team that we are frustrated with by the end of the year.
Sure.
I'm not saying that's a reason to get rid of everyone, but I do think it can be done. Like, I'm not saying we have the budget of Michigan or the coaching. Maybe we do, but Michigan did bring in an entire new team essentially.
It's certainly possible. I just think you look at Petty and Anderson and what they're able to do at the guard position and just see the production and the skill set they have. And sure, Petty could be difficult. He's more of like a Jamal Crawford wannabe hooper. I understand that. But at the end of the day, he can put up points. And just to lose both of that, I think that's going to be hard to replace. I know you have Dakari coming in next season, but regardless, it's a little frustrating to hear. I love the fact that we're in the portal era for Tech basketball. It's helped us succeed. I get it. These are the moments where it really pisses me off.
And the other thing, too, I feel like we will only get bad news for like 3 weeks. We won't add a portal commitment until like late April is what I feel like. And then you also have the looming factor, like, you don't know if Grant's going to be your head coach. Like, we haven't talked about that in a little bit.
All right. Let's settle down on that. I don't want to go there.
Like, I think I'm more confident now that North Carolina hasn't made a hire. Like, if they really wanted to hire Grant, they could go get it done right now.
Yeah.
And I think we would know that Grant's the chief target. I feel like he's very clearly at best third, if maybe not fourth. And so I don't feel like UNC is going to have to cycle through 3 candidates to get to Grant. So I feel good about him coming back, but there is still that like lingering over the program. Like, is our head coach returning? Like, I think so, but also I'm not 100% sure. And that's something that like us, Arizona, and who else are dealing with right now? Like, nobody else. And that's also kind of frustrating. So you're just dealing with a lot of uncertainty around your program. I have no idea whether I will know any of the starting players for us in November based on our roster right now. Like, they may all be new guys, and that's fine. I mean, Grant can piece together a roster. He's done it his whole career. I don't doubt him as a coach. It's just the way that he moves, we're going to get way more bad news before we get any sort of good news in my mind.
I mean, Conrad, you talk about worst case scenario for Texas Tech basketball. It's JT Toppin tearing his ACL. It's Chris Anderson transferring and not going pro. It's losing Jalen Petty. And on top of all that, it's Grant McCasland saying, man, I can't turn down one of the most historic programs in college basketball history. That would feel like, would that be worse in your mind than Chris Beard leaving? Or is that just like complete devastation for Tech basketball in your mind?
Yeah, I think it's hard to compare it to Chris Beard leaving. It's 2 different things in my mind. I do think it's complete devastation, obviously, because you're losing, like you said, literally everything. And so I think for me looking at it, it does make me nervous. It's kind of, I'll say it from a fan's perspective. If you lose a guy like Christian, like, that's really frustrating to me. Again, now he's going to make the decision that he's going to make. Players and coaches are not bound in this era. Coaches maybe a little bit more than players because of the buyout stuff, but at the same time, players have that too. And so it does feel like worst case scenario. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but when you lose literally everything, and you've got different kinds of players in the portal, right? You've got guys that didn't fit where they were, and so they're trying to find a new home with a good coach. And then you've got the players, assuming Christian Anderson goes in the portal, that are at his level, that are just, they're going to get an outrageous bag from someone. And so it's like, are you gonna spend what you'd have to spend in the portal the same way you did with football to get top quality talent? I don't think so. That would be my guess. I feel like you'd probably go the more, the route where you believe in the talent you evaluate. But it does really feel to me like it is worst case scenario for Texas Tech basketball right now. I don't think Grant's going to leave. Again, I'm with Zyler on that. I think if they wanted to do it, they would have done it by now. But at the same time, you never know what can happen. So dark times for Texas Tech basketball. At least that's how it feels right now, really, since JT tore his ACL.
That's how you guys are making this episode sound. There's still plenty of time for the optimistic side of this. Clayton, you could do work in the portal. Maybe Christian decides to say Grant works his magic, and you've got a roster that you feel really good about in 2026 and 2027. But right now, with all these moving parts, and of course, JT Toppin clearly not going to be able to play most of the season next year, if not all of it, if the redshirting rumors are true, you are looking at almost like a reset year a little bit, and you've been able to overcome that. I mean, the Mark Adams 2023 year was a disaster, or 2022 year, whichever year that was. And then you reset with Grant and you make the tournament 3 straight years. Like, it's certainly doable for Tech to hit a quick reset button and be ready to go in the modern era and what that program is built. But nonetheless, we're talking, man, in late February here, we're talking about potentially making the Final Four and winning a national championship. And now here we are just a month later, a week and a half removed from losing in the, tournament, and we're not feeling great.
Yeah. It's like a full teardown, but I have trust in Grant. Like I still think, you have the budget to get some quality players out of the portal. Like I don't have any doubt that we'll have a quality team next year, but I don't know if it's realistic to expect like the same level of expectations, I guess, of the last 2 years going into next year. But
and especially if you have dead money on a player that won't play for you. Like what is it take to top?
Yeah, that's I think what makes this so tough. It's like you have no idea. Like if Toppin wants to play next year, then you kind of have to let that be the expectation, but you don't know that that's going to be a possibility. So that's just, I feel like that just makes it so hard to build a team.
100%. That's the other thing that we're not giving them like credit for is this just totally weird dynamic where you have probably a top 3 returning player in the sport if he's healthy with a torn ACL. And you have no idea what to do with him. He has a single year of eligibility left. It's totally different if he has 2 years of eligibility left. Totally different. But he only has 1. Does he burn it this year? And that's the situation they're going to have to work through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to have to work through that. We are not. We're just fans. So let me ask you guys the question. What do you do with JT? If you were in charge of all of this, what would you do? 10-second answer. Clayton, I'll go to you.
I think if the medical report is that he could be ready by January, I think you have to, and he like wants to play next year, I think you have to let him work towards that and expect him to be playing in January.
I'll talk about it as a percentage of budget. I think if Toppin wants to play this year, it is hard for me to envision you building a good team where a player coming off a torn ACL that is an explosive player is taking up more than like 30% of your budget. And I think Toppin could command probably $5 to $6 million on the open market. And that would just be a really hard number for me to stomach and say, yeah, almost half of your budget's going to be out until January, maybe. Like he may come back in January. It might be February. It might be the end of February. Like that's a really tricky situation. At the same time, letting him walk to somewhere like Kentucky or Arkansas or Alabama or somewhere that has a lot of money and was willing to throw some resources around would be a gut punch. He's probably the best player in your program's history, and to let him leave in his final year, like it's a darned if you do, darned if you don't. My ideal situation is that he just redshirts this entire year, take a whole year off, get ready for the season in 2027, and we'll rock and roll from there. But I just don't know if that's what he's going to want to do. So Clayton's answer is probably the right one if that's what he chooses to do.
I need a quick dopamine hit, man. If Toppin's ready to go in January, he needs to be on the basketball court, man. I'm not waiting over a year for Texas Tech to be relevant. If you've got the 3rd best player in college basketball and he can play in January and you're able to keep your head above water to then make a tournament run and you have a respectable enough roster, then you add JT Toppin to that. Granted, and Conrad in this position, if he's fully healthy, like if he's ready to go in January, not rush back and then risk ruining his entire career from this. But if you're telling me that JT Toppin can play in a basketball game January 1st, I want to see JT Toppin play next season.
What if you're like 500 at best? Like the team just is not gelling. You really don't have a shot. Like you just have not played well. Maybe not 500. Maybe not 500 because there's no way that's going to happen. Like
if you're
you'll
6
be above
and
500.
If you're 6-6 January 1st or whatever your record is, then that's a little different. I mean,
that's not going to happen. Let's say it's February.
You can't say actually we're going to keep you for next year. Like he's going to be playing.
You're going to make that deal right now.
Yeah,
and he had surgery 2 weeks ago.
I mean.
So optimistically, you're looking at 9 months, and that's like cleared for activities. I don't think there's any way he's back in January. I think February 1st is probably the earliest you're looking at. So it's a tricky situation, man.
Yeah,
like,
it
I
is.
don't know.
You're in a tough spot. You're in a tough spot for sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no way around that.
The thing that we've said, and as a positive thing, you have an excellent administration. I trust Kirby. I trust Dusty. I trust that staff. They are going to make the best of whatever the hand that they're dealt. It's not like I'm looking at Kenny Payne on the sidelines and saying, how is he going to screw this up? I have faith that whatever roster that you put out there, we're going to maximize whatever that is, like I thought you did this year. I didn't think this was a particularly well-constructed roster. in relation to like being a top 20 team.
Mhm.
And I thought Grant got the absolute most out of those guys. And I have absolute faith in that. And if Grant's your coach, I'm going to be expecting a 6 seed or better, regardless of who's on the court. So I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that.
Well said, man. Well said. Well, we'll be breaking it down. Portal season opens up a little, a couple days after the Final Four ends next Monday night. So we'll see who Texas Tech targets and who leaves. I'm interested to see for sure. One coach we're not worried about leaving Texas Tech, though, is Red Raider head football coach Joey McGuire. He made some interesting comments on the Jim Rome show earlier today. But before we do that, if this is your first time listening to the Broadway Shuffle, or if you've listened for a while and haven't subscribed on YouTube yet, it's 100% free. It helps us grow the show. We'd appreciate if you guys do that. If you already have, we really appreciate all the shufflers that tune in, whether on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. But hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 2,500. We'd love to get there. And thank you guys for tuning in. So Joey McGuire makes some comments on the Jim Rome show, guys, and we're not worried about Joey, I think, ever leaving Texas Tech after this. Joey pretty much said, and this is an agent's job, that he told his agent, don't float me for nothing. I'm here. And he told us on our show in August, Conrad, that he'll die in Lubbock. And, coaches sometimes have coaches speak, but it seems like with Joey McGuire, this dude is going to be here for a long time. And I know that gets you very happy, Conrad.
Yeah, it shouldn't get every Red Raider happy. I mean, it's, for a guy like Joey, and, it was, looking back over his tenure so far, I mean, he's the greatest football coach in Texas Tech history, and it's not even close at this point. Don't hit me with the Mike Leach comments. I don't see any trophies in Mike Leach's cabinet. No disrespect to Mike. Wow, Joey's just that guy. Obviously, different eras. I understand that, all those things, but man, hearing his comments and just knowing that he's going to be your head coach forever, basically, because there's no chance that, I mean, unless it falls apart, obviously, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's much chance of that in this day and age with the NIL and things like that. And so he's the perfect fit, guys. Perfect fit for the fan base, perfect fit for the university. He's everything you could want in a coach. And when you have that kind of stability, man, that breathes so much life into a program, breathes so much life into recruiting. And obviously it's only possible because of the success on the field, which is large in part due to him, large in part due to NIL money. But who would you rather have as your head football coach at Texas Tech than Joey McGuire?
Is there a more confident Texas Tech fan than Conrad Mills? I don't think there is,
Probably
man. This
not.
guy, anytime football is brought up on this show, there is nothing but Conrad is just hyping up the Red Raider football team. And rightfully so, man. I love hearing it.
The thing I'll say about Conrad that I respect is he is assured of his convictions. It doesn't matter if you present him with facts or stats or it's like, hey, this is what I think, and this is what I believe, and I'm going to stand on that. And he sees all of you in the YouTube comments, and he's just going to keep saying that stuff. So keep piling on. I don't know if anybody's going to say anything that'll make him change his opinions because he believes in that, and I respect that for somebody who's going to.
He's even willing to speak ill of the dead. Z, I mean, coming out here and just trashing Mike Leach on the show.
I'm not speaking ill. I just I don't see any trophies in Mike Leach's trophy cabinet. That's all I'm saying.
You're not wrong.
So this brings me to an interesting question because I cannot think of many coaches at like big time, let's say like top 50 programs that have gone out gracefully. I think of Nick Saban, even though he went out on a loss. It was in the playoff. It wasn't like people were super, like he went out a winner, even if he didn't win his last game, if that makes sense. Nobody at Bama was happy to see him go. Who are the other coaches at Power 4 institutions that you can think of in the last 20 years that have like rode off into the sunset gracefully?
Did Pete Carroll get fired?
Yes.
Well,
he
left.
left.
Scandal.
He left.
But he knew he was going to get fired.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm trying to think of like national championship winning head coaches that left for.
I mean,
like
even you see with like Dabo, Dabo's
Urban Meyer at Florida.
No, he left for health reasons. Remember?
Yeah, but I mean, graceful. Like it was still like a graceful exit, wasn't it? Like in terms of like, are you talking about leaving the program?
No. Left the coaching profession. Like I retired.
Yeah, like he left for health reasons.
But then he went to Ohio State.
Yeah, and won.
And that ended
more.
that ended
poorly. But so
that
he
didn't end because he
career.
wanted it to.
So he didn't end his career at that institution. I'm trying to think
you're
of
talking
the guy.
you're talking about ending a career. Like, so Joey's our coach in 2046. That's what you're saying. Like, and he is able to retire.
Well, how likely
Was
is
it?
that?
Yeah, was gonna say like Bobby Bowden, maybe. I don't know how he ended his career.
Joe Paterno had a pretty good ending.
No, he did not.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is not to poo-poo on Maguire because I love that. That is music to my ears. He's saying the exact same thing I'd say. I mean, pay me some money. I'm super happy. I do a really hard job. I want to get compensated for it. I want to die here. It is very rare that it actually plays out like that because the sport of college football changes so much, and it is hard for the head coaching position has changed so much in the last 5 years, and it changed the 5 years before that, and especially in this new era. I just wonder what our expectations are for Joey, because there were still people mad at Joey last year after we went 12-1, or excuse me, 12-2, and it's just like, what are your expectations? What does Joey have to do on a year in and year out basis to die as the head coach of Texas Tech football, in your mind?
If you are a fan of Texas Tech and you can't be happy with, at the very least, and I think this is realistic right now in the conference that we're in and the setup we have, like, I think he's raised the floor of this program so much that, like, I'm not going to be upset if we don't win the Big 12 every year, although I certainly think that's possible. If you get to double-digit wins every single year, not every single year, you can have like Bob Stoops. Stoops left gracefully. Bob Stoops left. That's a perfect example. Bob Stoops left.
Kind of. He was
actually, yeah, that's true. He was almost about to get fired. There's 1 year. Lincoln Riley saved his job. I'll go for that.
They wanted to get Lincoln Riley, but I think that's a good one.
Yeah, but I just don't. I don't see, like, in the new Big 12. I think double-digit wins is very realistic every year, and I don't think you're going to have a single Tech fan that would ever be upset about that. Is that fair?
Okay, but so I'm just thinking about
rational fans, not crazy. I'm talking rational.
So the thing that we've done once in the last 15 years is now the expectation for Joey moving forward to retire at this job.
Did you have the same NIL investment, and was the conference as bad as it is right now around you?
No,
I mean,
but I'm just saying, like, it may not be that way. Like, what if you were in a Super League 5 years from now? Like,
well, then the expectations change 5 years from now.
And exactly, like, is Joey going to be capable of handling that? And so it's just and it's not to poo-poo on the parade, even though it kind of is poo-pooing on the parade. It very rarely ends well for these coaches. You either die a hero or you go out a villain. And
what a great line. Where'd you get that one?
No, okay, oddly enough, did you know it was in The Dark Knight? Like, that line is originally from that. It's not like an old parable or anything. Like, that movie originally made that line.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What a legendary movie.
That's actually crazy.
That's actually insane. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
but Z, to your point though, like, let's say Kirby Hocutt leaves. Let's say Kirby gets hired at Michigan, or somewhere like, and now you get a new AD, and that new AD's got a vision. We saw this with Leach. Like, Gerald Myers was like, F this guy. Like, I don't like this guy anymore. You just don't know. And I do think there's some concern in the modern day of college football where political powers will be at play. I know you've got like Cody Campbell, who's backing the whole thing, and he's got obviously Joey and their support there, and Dusty Womble. They're all aligned right now, but things can change, man, and people change. And I do wonder in this modern era, like a decade from now, if Joey's not delivering championships, like does a new administration or a new donor say, what are we doing here? It's great now, and it seems like it's going to be great for the next 3 to 5 years, as long as you're in the position that you are in the Big 12. I want to see him die in Lubbock. I don't want to see him die, but I want to see him retire. I want to see him retire. I want to see him retire at Lubbock.
Yeah.
But you just never know, man. You just don't.
And you don't.
Yeah, Clay. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, because you've been sitting there listening to us blab about it, but what odds do you give? I had someone ask me that. Z, it might have been you. Like 10 years from now, is Joey McGuire your head coach at Texas Tech? Like, if you had to go on a 1 to 10 confidence meter level, like, what's your confidence level there? Scale 1 to 10.
And this is nothing against Joey. I hope he's our coach 10 years from now. I'm like 20% sure.
Okay, so you're a 2, Clayton.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, why a 2? I want to hear the explanation.
It's nothing against Joey. It's everything that I think Brendan laid out. Is Lawrence Skubanek going to be the president 10 years from now? Is Kirby Hocutt the AD from now? Does Cody Campbell still donate as much money as he does? Does the Big 12 still exist as it does in its current iteration? Like, there's way too many variables that could change that could, radically restructure the way that this job is perceived. Like, what happens if you end up in the little Oregon State limbo where, oh, shoot, we are not in a power conference anymore? Do you continue to pay a head coach $7.5 million? Like, I don't think so. And so what does that look like? There's just, once again, it's nothing against Joey. My hope is that he coaches us for the next 20. There's just so many variables that change in college football that it's just so hard to say that with any kind of certainty. And you look like, I think Joey's the longest tenured coach in the Big 12 right now, right? Him and Aranda. It's like college coaches just don't stick around at these jobs for more than 5 to 6 years. Very, very rarely does that happen. It just changes so much in this job. Joey throws out his 6-6 season next year. What does it look like in the following season? Like, if that somehow happens, like, okay, right back on the hot seat. And those things aren't.
So you're a 2, Clayton. Yeah. That's low. I got to be honest. That's super low.
Those are fair points, but I think that's low.
Like, please come at Zyler in the comments like you come at me.
I don't know. I'm going to look up longest tenured NCAA head coaches, and I'm going to list them. And we're going to see.
Clay, why is he doing that, Clay? You go.
Mine would be closer to 50-50, honestly, because I think all the points as I laid out are fair, but I think Joey has all the boosters in his pocket, and obviously that could change. Like, something could happen, but right now that's the case. He has all the administration support, and I think as there are so many changes, I think it's nice to have like a stable force, whether that be the coach or whoever. So I think there's reasons to want to have one coach, and obviously he wants to be here. So I would put it closer to 50-50, considering, because Cliff lasted 6 years and it was never good past the first 7 games of his career. So I think Joey can last 10 years. That's just me. But I agree with what I was saying. I just think 20%.
You're saying like another 10 years from now, like he's the coach in 2036, right? Not coach in 2032. Correct?
Yeah.
Not like, does he make it 10 years as a tech edge coach? Does he make it 10 more years from now? Right?
Okay, yeah. I guess I was thinking 10 total years. I guess 10 years from now.
I think 10 total years, I would say like 60 or 70%.
Okay.
Because he's at 6 already right now, or 5?
He just finished 4. So next year will be his 5th year.
It would be impossible for him to get fired. Basically before 7.
So 10 years from now, I'll say like 40%.
Okay.
Okay. Conrad's shocked. You guys have stumped Conrad.
I just hope you guys enjoy the next few years then, because from what you guys sound like, it sounds like we're going back to the cellar in terms of football. Doomsday here on the Broadway Shuffle with basketball and football, according to Zyler and Clayton. But there's some of us here that want to see things positively. No, I think what it's. Let me start with Texas Tech. Texas Tech as a university has shown that it's on the forefront of not only college athletics, but also what it's doing as an academic institution. We talked to President Skubanek multiple times about it. This is not a slow, stupid, lazy institution. It has fantastic leadership at every place. They're not going to be caught sleeping on any of this stuff. They've been the most innovative university, or one of the most, over the last 5 years in a lot of respects, obviously, not just football, but academics as well. I don't see that changing. Even if President Skubanek is not the president, and he's not going to be forever, you're not going to convince me that the next person as president would not be in line with where you've seen Texas Tech go in the last 5 years, and really last 10, 15 years, honestly. And so it starts there, but I don't see, if Joey doesn't want to leave here and the structure of college athletics is not solidified in any sense of, like, it's not going to go back to the way it was, and it's only going to continue to move forward in this NIL era, even with regulations that may happen. You're just not going to convince me that the donors and the outside world the perception is not going to be the same. The investment's going to be the same. Obviously, lots of things can change, but if all those things hold equal from a Texas Tech perspective, all you're going to see is more of the same. Because what Texas Tech is showing the world right now is you invest in college sports and you have the right people in place, you're going to succeed. That's what happened last year. That's what's happened the last few years. And so to say that Joey McGuire, that anybody would want to move off of him when none of this happens without him. Like, we got to remember that. The Double Eagle does not invest the way it does without Joey. The other donors that we don't know their names don't invest without Joey. Like, these things don't happen without him. You take him out and you hire somebody else who doesn't have the same type of energy and the same type of belief that he does, you don't even win the Big 12 last year, no matter how much money you have, because he was what gelled that team together. And so I just think, I mean, I'm not going to say it's 100% because nothing ever is, but I'd probably say 90% he's your coach because he can adapt, he can rally people, and there truly is nobody like him in college athletics. And so I'm on the Joey train. I always will be. Yeah, he's going to be your head coach in 10 years.
I am too. I'm on the Joey train. I just think if college football has done anything over the last 10 to 15 years, it's been change. It's never been the same. Like, look at Clemson. Look at the SEC. They thought, yeah, okay, sweet. NIL's coming around. Now we're really going to dominate. They haven't won a national title in 3 years. And it's like, those are programs that are really this sport does nothing but change. And I think we've done a really good job adapting with that change. What if all of a sudden there's collective bargaining and you can only pay $20 million to your football team, and us, TCU, Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State are all on the same level on what we can pay our players? What happens then? Like, we're not foolish enough to say that we just have the best coaches and the best scouts and the best facilities, even though I think we do. We also have the best resources in our conference. What if that advantage gets taken away? Like, those are just things that we can't, or Cody decides, you know what, I want to run for governor, or those things can change. And all of a sudden, does that change? Is Joey as great if he doesn't have all of the resources? And I'm not arguing against Joey. I love Joey. I want him to be the coach. It's just so hard to predict this stuff with any sort of certainty.
I also think that if he left, I'm not saying that would mean that Tech is back in the cellar. I also think that he could be like a victim of his own success if he goes on a crazy run for the next 5 years, wins like 3 or 4 Big 12 titles, and then that goes down to like 9 wins a year if other teams catch up with the occasional 10. And then say someone like Lincoln Riley expressed interest, like that could change that too.
Certainly.
I don't think it means that Tech went back to like 5-7, 6-6.
You bring up a great point. It's the Clemson scenario. Like, Clemson has won several. Have they won 3 national titles with Dabo, or 2?
2.
And like, Dabo's kind of on the hot seat.
Well,
and it's like,
but you know what? Dabo has been the prime example of not wanting to adapt in the new era of college football, though. Like, he's public enemy number 1 for the pro NIL people because he doesn't want to
on NIL, the name, image, and likeness of Jesus Christ.
Hey, and that's a great thing, man. That's a great thing. I don't know. I feel like because Dabo had his success, just like Saban did in the pre-NIL era for the most part. I feel like they want to go back to that era because then they can control a lot more. Where now it's the Wild West, and we've obviously reaped the success of that. What happened? You guys are right.
The Super League era, and it's no longer the NIL era. Does Joey dominate in that era? Like, maybe. I hope so,
but even if you don't, the expectations have to change. Like the expectations would have to, like, if you're in a league, if your league is not as, I'll say it, as bad as the Big 12 is now, and you actually have to play formidable opponents week to week and aren't favored by 10 plus points every week. I would think your expectations should change at that point.
Do you think they changed at OU or Texas? Like, those teams, when you get accustomed to winning, they think you should then run the league. And I promise you, we go to a league like the SEC, Tech fans are going to say we should win this league.
That's I think there's a difference. I think there's a difference with OU and Texas with a history of winning, and Texas Tech, which has not had a history of winning.
You look at Tech fans now with our adjustments on recruiting classes, and we sign high 3-stars, and I'm like, I'm not even going to read this article. It's been the highest rated kid like 4 years ago. Like, our expectations change so fast.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. But if you can invest the same way, then there's Zyler, you are right. There's a lot of variables. I just don't think the reason you don't succeed at adapting is going to be your current head coach. I don't think you're never going to find a guy who's more innovative, more willing to change for the sake of winning than Joey McGuire.
I think that's an excellent point.
Let me ask you this, because I hate to do this, but I think it's just a fair question. Let's say that Sarkisian goes pro and Texas throws a $14 million, $12 million contract at Joey McGuire after 3 straight Big 12 championships, maybe a national championship appearance, whatever. I mean, money talks, right? Like, I know you're saying don't float my name, but if that contract comes up on the table, like kind of like we're talking about Grant, if a UNC contract comes up on the table, I mean, that could happen too, right? Like you mentioned a victim of his own success, Clayton, but what if the success is like, all right, we're going to we'll double it up, man. Like, money talks, man. And it's talking for Tech. It's talking for people coming to Tech and Lubbock. We can't pretend that's not a part of the story here. I'm more worried about someone just poaching him with an offer you can't refuse than I am because of our success. I think we're going to have a great 5 years. I think the next 5 years are going to be the pinnacle of Texas Tech football for years to come. And I expect more Big 12 championships, and I expect a national championship appearance or 2. I'm more concerned about him a decade from now getting something he just couldn't refuse.
Sure.
Like, what if Alabama came calling? What if Texas what if Clemson came calling with Dabo leaving? Ohio State. Like, if it's like, man, all this guy does is win. He won in high school. He's winning at Texas Tech, that was in the depths of hell of college football prior to him returning, and they poach him. Like, I think that's a more likely scenario than, like him getting canned, personally.
Yeah. And I was listening to the college football
Conrad's killing me
earlier, and they brought up an interesting point about what Cignetti is going to do to expectations. And you think about that may be the most revolutionary for the sport national championship of the last 25 years. When Indiana can go from cellar dweller to national champion in 2 years, what is he doing that is different? What is he doing that is revolutionizing this game? Is there something that we're not picking up there that he has somehow found out, or was he just a God tier evaluator? Is he truly one of one and the next Nick Saban of our generation, or has he found a new way to do things? Are they going to be pushing the needle in a way that we haven't seen yet? Is it not just acquire talent at every single position? And is it, that was just something that they brought up that I thought was an interesting point that I hadn't thought of. I think writing off Cignetti as a one of one, he's just a wonder kid, is a lazy way to say that, I could never do that. What if they've just broken the model about how to build a college football team? Like, I think that's a world too. And there's also the world where they're cheating, which I think is a really fun one.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Or there's the world where he's Ed Orgeron 2.0 and it's going to fall apart.
Yeah. It's just, what if they're on the cutting edge of something that we haven't even thought about, or our team hasn't even thought about? Because they dominated on the way to a national title at freaking Indiana. Mm-hmm. That's unbelievable. That's like the most improbable national champion of my lifetime.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Brendan, I do want to.
Go ahead.
Brendan, I do want to respond to that. If Texas comes with $14 million a year in like 5-6 years, I'll be short with this statement. But when I listen to Joey, and I obviously listen to Joey talk more than any other college head coach, but I do listen to other ones as well, and the clips that come out. I sense a genuineness with him that I don't sense with anyone else. Like truly, I think he genuinely cares about people more. And all the testimonies, not only that we experience ourselves having him on the show, but also just different things that we've heard and things like that. I think he genuinely cares about people in a pretty unique way that I would say based on what I know about and what we see from other head coaches. I don't think it's the same other places. I don't think it is. And so I say all that to say, in 5, 6, 7 years, if Texas came calling, I think at that point, the relationships will be so deep. And if the success is at that level, I'm not sure he would take it.
Look, I understand. I care about people too at $6 million a year, and I can care about a lot of people at $20 million a year too. I'm just saying, like, I get it, and I
can't take
agree
20 million with you.
You can take it pretty far. Maybe not to the end, but you can take it to the brink. And I just think that I agree with you 100%. And I am all aboard Joey McGuire being your coach for the next 20, 30 years. I hope he is. I just am concerned with the era of college football. That's what concerns me more. It's not a loyalty thing. It's just it's an opportunistic time, and donors are talking, and there's a lot of moving parts. And what if you don't have a good recruiting year? What if Texas Tech drops the ball? What if that new president says, like, man, we really got to invest in the math program here. Like, what are we doing in football? You just don't know. And I believe Joey when he says, don't float my name. I'm going to be the Red Raider coach for however long they'll have me here. But there are so many factors in the current college sports ecosystem that just have me, just like basketball, like each and every year, I'm just a little on edge. It doesn't matter who it is. Like we got Brendan Sorsby, we got David Bailey, we got these guys. We're in a massive time, and we're loving the riches that Texas Tech football is providing. But that could end in 2028. Like it could, just with how it is. I don't think it will, but just keep your head on a swivel. You just don't know. Conrad, I know you're kind of shaking your head. Now I feel like Clayton. I feel like I got him more towards the middle there a little bit, but he's not as stunned right now, Clay. But I mean, what do you think, Clay? Ultimately for Tech football, and I know we've been, it hasn't been this might be one of the more pessimistic shows when you've had a great year in athletics, but it just, what do you think of that too? Would you feel more? I get maybe a better question is, how should we approach this now? Like, we really sitting in this success, like we are going to be head to toe favorites to win the Big 12 coming up in a few months here. Just enjoy the process, like really living in this moment, or are you a little more concerned, like the more success Texas Tech has, the more we'll see a Chris Beard type scenario where people are using Texas Tech as a jumping board?
I actually don't see that for Joey. And I think, like, let's actually say that Texas came open. I think it'd be a huge risk to hire Joey, because as good of a coach as we all think he is playing, like, honestly, like, unfair with the rest of the league. I think for
Are you saying the Big 12 is...
Guys, we've got to stop the Big 12.
I'm saying that, no, I'm not saying that they're trash.
Go ahead, Clayton. Sorry.
But we all know that we had easily the best roster last year, and we probably will this year. I think it's a massive risk for a program that doesn't need to take risks like that to hire Joey. And maybe if he reels off, like 5 years of this, then I think it may be a different conversation. But like programs like Ohio State and Texas can get almost whoever they want. I don't think that they would ever, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think they would hire Joey for that reason. I think there's like, I could see A&M. I feel like A&M is like the tier of programs that I think, would come after Joey. And at that point,
Joey's
it's like,
way
why
too
would you leave
normal.
Tech?
He's too normal for A&M.
That's a great point.
That is a good point. Man. Interesting conversation for sure. I love hearing my head coach talk about staying forever. I love hearing it. I think Texas Tech football is going to have great success for the next 3 to 5 years. And then, to your point, do we join a super league? Do we join the SEC? What does it look like? You don't know. But while we've got it, I'm going to enjoy it, man. It's a ton of fun. And great conversation there, fellas. That was, I didn't know it was going to go there. That wasn't, bringing up your coach staying forever, and here I am talking about him leaving for Texas for $20 million. That scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to cakewalk the Big 12 in 2026 and get to another CFP.
Dude,
the moment we lose to like Houston over something,
we will not lose a Big 12 game this year if Brendan Sorsby is healthy the whole year. We will not.
I hope
lose.
You're right. I'm just saying.
I can't wait for Zyler. Zyler, if we blow everybody out again, I just really want you to say on the show publicly for everyone to hear that the Big 12 is not a good conference. Like I'm just there. Like I'm so there. Dude, or maybe so here's just that much better.
It's not that the Big 12 is an amazing conference. It is way better than what people say it is. People will look at this. They look at the logos and say trash. And it's like, my brother in Christ, like you recorded a road win against Tennessee, a team that didn't beat a Power 4 team with a winning record all year long as like a key part of your resume. Like, the slander is going to come so hot and heavy from the SEC and Big Ten teams this year. I want to make the CFP, and they will keep you out if you lose a single game. And I don't want that to be the narrative. So,
wow, a single game.
I think they will. I mean, dude, look at BYU. Like, BYU lost twice to a team that was rated by most major analytics companies as a top 2 to 3 team in the country. They lost twice to that, and they said, yeah, you're not good enough. I'm sorry about that. We have to have 9-3 OU in this tournament. It's like, it's ridiculous. They get such a pass, and I'm going to push back against it. Me and Conrad are going to go to war for like 8 months.
It's going to be great. That's why you got to subscribe and be here for it all, because our offseason content, we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up too. Maybe we'll break down, is the Big 12 a bad conference? Maybe we can do that next week. Ooh. Deliver to that you guys on Thursdays. I'm liking that conversation here. I think that'll be fun. We won't be here on Monday, though. We're taking off Easter Sunday, so no Broadway Shuffle on Monday. We'll be back next Thursday. Maybe, should we just go ahead and lock that in? Come back next Thursday for Is the Big 12 a bad conference? We'll get Clayton.
No, it's
we'll
our Masters preview.
Here.
It's our Masters preview.
Yeah, we got a Masters. Yeah, Ludwig going for the Masters this year too. We'll talk about that some too. But great conversation, fellas. As always, you can find us here every Monday and Thursday. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Texas Tech Plus. Subscribe, follow all of us at the Broadway Shuffle, and you can find all of our handles as well here if you're watching live on YouTube. So for Conrad, Clayton, and Zyler, I am Brennan Baxter. We'll see you guys next Thursday on the Broadway Shuffle.
He makes the catch. He's going all the way. 20.